Now joining us in the media center is Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Freight Toyota, who finished second in today's Lennox Industrial Tools 301 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Denny, take us through your run out there today.
Just a great race car. Really a great race car. It's just, you're going to have days like this, and, it's part of racing. That's why, it's such a team sport. It's the pit crew, it's the driver, it's the car, it's the crew chief, and all those things put together. And, we just had a slight miscommunication, and that one little mistake, will magnify it and take a win away from you. So, proud of our team. We had an amazing race car, and, we lost 3 points today. That's about it. We just, even though we didn't get the win and the trophy, we just missed out on 3 points, and that was it. So we're going to take this and know that when we come back, when it really counts in a few months, we're going to have something pretty strong.
Okay, we'll take questions for Denny. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll, again, start downstairs here in the media area, then go upstairs to the press room. We'll start in the back with David.
Yeah, Denny, David Newton, ESPN.com. It seems like Darian thought you wanted 4 tires because you were losing grip, and then the expression on your face was like, oh, God, How does those kind of miscommunications happen?
Well, because the distance between when the caution flies and when the pit road's open, that time is so small that your time to communicate and figure out what you're going to do is you really got about 45 seconds to get it. And so between all that, what happened was Darian asked me, he said that, how much of the tires that he felt like I used up. I said I felt like I used them up, a substantial amount. I'd been on the lefts for quite a few laps. And so my information to him was that, I've used up the tires. He said, well, I think 2's the call. I said, okay, just give me tires and no adjustments. And when he took that as I meant 4 tires. And so it just that small miscommunication just messed us up a little bit, but nothing's a given. Even though it was pretty obvious that we had a win in the bag if we took 2 tires, you never know what could have happened. So either way, we had a great day, and we're going to build on it.
Okay, we'll take our next question here on the left.
Denny Metwernes, WWLP.com. Heading into today, we had a new tire come in here. What did you think about the tire, and did you think it honestly worked?
Yeah, it's interesting because the track, the tires weren't losing a whole lot of grip, so people were not changing tires as much. I felt like it was a little bit harder to pass than what it had been in years past, but the speeds were higher. So it's hard to figure out how the speeds were higher, but yet the tires didn't fall off. So I thought the tires were okay. It didn't look like we had as many tire failures this time around. So overall, I think the tire was fine, and obviously it's something they'll probably come back with.
Any additional questions down here in the media area before we go to the press box? Okay, we'll take one in the back. In the back.
Thank you. Denny, Mark Labor, Union Leader Sports. Can you tell me, when you went back out on the track after that miscommunication pit stop and you discover your 13th place and not first place, what was the inside emotion, and what was the determination as you weaved your way through the field to come back to challenge to win the race?
Yeah, you pretty much know. You try to be optimistic, but you know that pretty much your chances of winning are pretty much taken away if there's no cautions. And it's still, that would have been the right call if we would just have one caution somewhere in the mix, somewhere along the line. So we would be still sitting in victory lane if we had any caution in that last 75 laps. But it just, all the stars aligned perfectly to where it wasn't meant to be today for us. But your emotions, it's tough to keep them in check when you kind of give them one way. But Darian has won me a couple of races this year. Is more than he's taken away from me. So I think I've been through this long enough now that your chances of winning are going to be you're going to have plenty more chances here in the future, and especially the way we're running. So as hard as it is to keep your emotions in check, it's you just got to take it in stride and just realize that there's nothing, after you pull out on pit road and go on the racetrack, there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do from that point forward is just figure out how to get the best finish you can that day. If you harp and you moan on it, you're just going to go backwards. So I just try to, Bob Rotella, the key. You just think forward and not think about anything bad just happened.
Okay, we'll take one more question down here and then go upstairs. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, David Newton, ESPN.com again. Casey Kane, back 6 races into the season, was like buried, like 31st in points, and it seemed like everything was going bad for him. Is there a point where you thought he could make a run, or did you give up, think he's buried for good this year? Or
Not really, because they've always got chances to win races. And with our format, all you need to do is win races. Just be in the top 20 in points, and if you're outside the top 20, you shouldn't be in the chase anyway. So it's, they can win races. And so it doesn't matter if they were 20th in points with 2 races to go. I would still consider those guys a chance to win a chance to win, get in the chase and win the championship. It's the same with Jeff Gordon. I still think right now it's another team that you're not going to count out until it's 2 races to go or 1 race to go, and he hasn't got a win, and he's behind those guys with other wins. So when you have potent teams like that and driver and crew chief relationships like they have over there, you never count them out. You just know it all works in cycles. As bad luck as what those guys had at the beginning of the year, look at it today, that the fortune turned around and went in their favor. So it's all this luck and all that people talk about, it all works itself out in the end.
Okay, we'll take questions from the press box. Go ahead.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Denny, I know you're looking ahead, and I think I know the answer to this, but I think I got to ask it anyway. Did Darian being gone the last 2 days and then kind of parachuting in here today, do you feel like, I know you guys communicate enough during a race that you're used to it, but could that have been a factor at all?
No, I don't think so, Nate. The reason is because we had discussed, our strategies and things that we were going to do before the race even started, what we were going to do as far as tire strategy. I just think it was a perfect storm in the sense of the caution came out and we got the pace car right away. And really we had just the backstretch to kind of get in line and figure out what we were going to do. And we just didn't have enough time to be 100% clear with each other on where we were headed. So I just think that things just didn't work out, and really, what we missed out on for him was, the adjustments on the car during practices, and that's it. We never really talk about any race strategies until race day. So he was here for that, and obviously Mike Wheeler stepping in, adjusting on the car, did a pretty good job this week. So Nate, it was just a bad circumstance.
Next question from press box.
One more quick one for you, Denny. Jimmy Johnson took issue with the second debris caution, and it sounded on the radio like you weren't so sure about that one either. You have any thoughts on that?
I wasn't sure about any of them. I mean, I know we had rain coming during that one. I don't know. I think we had 2 or 3 debris cautions, but yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. I shouldn't really talk about it because I'm not. It's not going to be in my favor. But it's just it's frustrating, especially when you have a good car and have a lead that you built and you spent 60, 70 laps building that lead to get it taken away on some debris wherever it may be. So it's just they felt like it was a hazard, whatever it was, and so they threw a caution. But I'm of course I want it to be something that really is a danger and a hazard to us drivers. Otherwise, just let the race play out.
Next question.
Mike Hembry, Speed.com. Denny, I think it was with 2 laps to go, you went really high in 3 and 4. Were you just trying to make a wild and crazy move there? Were your tires going away? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the edge of every corner entry those last probably 20 laps. I was doing everything I could, and all I wanted to do was just get close enough to where I could hit them, just to make it somewhat interesting. I just didn't have enough, distance. He had just stretched it out so far that we ran out of time, and really I ran out of brakes and talent with a couple laps to go. So, just a dive bomb move to try to just make up some kind of ground and see if I could make something happen. And, overdriving the car really doesn't pay anything, so it costs us some time. But other than that, it's just one of those deals.
Next question from the press box.
Monty Dutton, Gaston Gazette. Denny, obviously, early in the race, Kyle Busch led most of the time, but you were not too far behind. Was there ever any time during the day when you did not feel like you had the car to beat?
Well, I thought the 5 and the 18 obviously were very strong. But, we typically come in, and our car comes in the second to third run of each race. We really don't show everything that we have right off the bat. And so it's, no, there's really not a moment where I felt like we didn't have a good car. I knew after yesterday's practice, we were going to be very good. And then obviously when we started the race, I just kind of was pacing myself behind those two and knew that once I got clear racetrack, it was going to be pretty much game over. So it's, I knew what we had. It just, I thought that the 5 was going to be a challenger. It looked like the 48, any one of those cars can make an adjustment and get close, but I just felt like this weekend we just had a particularly dominant car.
Other questions from the press box?
Yes, Louis Frank of Reuters. Denny, does your battle with Jimmy Johnson for the championship in 2010, you're remarkably composed. I was wondering, does that help you keep your eye on the big picture after a day like today?
Yeah, definitely. If you look at our stats from this year, if we don't get wrecked or taken out or something like that, we're in contention to win a race. So I feel like our performance right now, even though we don't have the wins that we had in 2010 at this point, I think that we're more competitive now than what we were in 2010. Maybe not the all-out speed. Now, it's hard. This weekend we did have that speed, but at the mile and a half, we don't have the speed that we had in 2010. But we're dangerously close, competitive-wise, to where we were in 2010. So now we're just going to take that experience from then and apply it this year. So it's, everything seems very, very similar to a couple years ago as far as how our performance is.
Final question from the press box.
Hello, Denny, Michael Vega, Boston Globe. With the momentum you guys generated this weekend, the power you showed, team-wide, do you leave here wishing that you had a race to go to next weekend?
No, thank you. We all want a week off. This is a tough schedule. All these guys, it's going to be great for Darian to have a weekend off with his new daughter. So I think it's anyone that travels this NASCAR schedule every week looks forward to those off weekends, and you got to take advantage of them. So it's the last one of the year for everyone, and so we need all the breaks we can get. The next one we'll have is going to be Thanksgiving. So even though that you got momentum and you could go to next week and really be fired up, I think everyone likes to end on a high note. We got a week and a half to think about how we're going to run at Indy. I know our Indy car is primed and ready to go. I'm really excited and think we have a great shot to win that one. I like going in off weekends on this kind of note. You don't want to have bad momentum and then have to sit on it for 2 weeks. You want to have good momentum.
Okay, I understand there's one more question upstairs.
Lisa Spencer, Fox Sports. Just curious, to come back from 13th to 2nd, you had 4 tires. You drove your ass off, but how much did those 4 tires enable you, to pass everybody that was on 2?
I don't know. It's a fine line. I think that obviously there's other guys that took 4 that didn't make up any ground earlier in the race. So I think the tires helped us 50%, and I think the other 50% of us making up all that ground was our car was just that fast. And so between those two, that's where we made up all that ground. It's, I think you put a 5th place car on new tires in 13th, he probably would have finished 8th, in my opinion.
Any final questions downstairs? All right, Denny, thank you very much for your time, and congratulations on your finish today.